Scully, a win thanks to grit and determination. Is that the way West Coast want to play for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think so. Our brand, we're still working on our brand and how it's going, but the way we played yesterday was, I think, how we want to be known. Midfielders played a really gutsy game. I think down back we held up pretty well, and the forwards put pressure on the game and took their chances when it was down there. So from a backman's point of view, watching it from down back, it's pretty exciting seeing the boys go about it how they are at the moment, and I think that's pretty important for us. We're an exciting young group, and taking the game on like we did, it was good watching it from right at the back.
With respect to a makeshift backline, but it's looking like a great backline. What's been the secret, especially that last quarter when you were bombarded?
Yeah, no real secret, and we haven't had to change a lot. Obviously, personnel's changed a little bit with Brownie and Eric missing out at the moment, and even Zave Ellis hasn't been playing this year. But I think missing those guys, we just had to rely on each other a little bit more and play real team defence. We can't just rely on on Eric McKenzie getting the job done on the best player every week. Everyone's got to play their role, and it's funny how it does work when you've got everyone on the same page.
How's life changed for you since McKenzie and Brown went down?
Well, I find myself in the goal square a little bit more, and it's a little bit more of a pressure cooker than maybe up the ground closer to the stoppage. So yeah, I've got Eric and Brownie to thank for the last 8 years of keeping me a little bit out of the goal square, but it's been good. I've enjoyed the new role, playing a bit deeper, and it helps sort of seeing the game a little bit. You can speak to the other boys while we're out there, and yeah, I've enjoyed it.
You got to do more weights and stuff like that, given that you'll be doing more one-on-one contests rather than running.
That's probably pre-season a little bit, that sort of stuff. Once you get into games, you're probably just looking for the next week, trying to get the body right. So pre-season was a big one for me. That Eric and Brownie were still up and going and playing. So yeah, no too much extra stuff. No.
Well, you've had a few ankle problems. All good now?
Yeah, all good now. I've tweaked it a couple of times, just standard ankle rolls. I did it playing for East Perth, and I've done it a couple more times. But as most AFL players go through, you tweak your ankle every now and then. So nothing too serious from my end.
You've been known as sort of flat track bullies over the last couple of years. Do you think yesterday's win might have changed a few views of those outside the footy club?
Yeah, it is a view held outside the footy club, which is pretty important to remember. Obviously, you want to beat the good teams, and we haven't been able to do it. That's a fact. So playing Port Adelaide and playing like we did, outside views might change, but we've got strong belief in our footy club, how we go about it. We're a young, exciting group, and what sort of views are held outside isn't that relevant to us. We like to beat the good teams, though.
Just back on the defensive stuff, has it been, without putting this in the wrong way, a blessing in disguise in that the guys have had to learn how to drop off each other and trust each other a bit better, as you mentioned, without having to rely on Easy being there to win one-on-ones all day long, or Mitch like that? Has that been an acceleration of your development as a back six?
To be honest, we changed the way we played in the back line a little bit coming in last year when Simo came to the club, and it's probably 18 months of hard work, starting to come to fruition. Not saying we're the best back line in the league or anything like that, but we're developing as a back line, and losing those guys is just it has accelerated a bit. It just means you've got to rely on everybody to do their job, which should be how we're playing all the time. So it's forced us a little bit quicker into that.
When the injuries occurred, did you guys get together as a defensive group and sort of discuss how it's going to change and what you need to do, or bonding sort of?
Nothing extra. We're a pretty tight group in the back line as it is. We're a pretty tight team. The unity in the group's just taken another level this year. As a back line, you definitely, you can't ignore that we've lost two great players, but in the same sense, footy's a wonderful medium like that. You've got to move on to the next game very quickly. When Eric went down, we had to play the next week, and the same with Brownie. You have to play the next week, so there's no point in moping around and worrying about what's happened. You've got to move on. So I think footy as a game has probably helped us through that as much as anything. You just got to get on for the next week and see, bring another soldier in.
Well, how have you seen Jeremy McGovern's development?
I've had probably the best view out of everyone. I've sort of been sitting on my man as he's jumping over my head most weeks. But in saying that, he's going really well. He's still a young player. I think he's probably just notched up the 20 game mark, not even that. I think people forget that pretty quickly. So he's a pretty mature bloke for his age. But he's got great confidence in his ability, and I love playing with him. I know all the other boys do as well, because he's a real game changer. Anyone can say that. I'm just really happy for him that he hasn't turned himself around. I've seen that a little bit, in the papers and things like that. But he's really matured as an individual, which is probably the most pleasing.
How brave an effort for JK to play like he did, given his elbow, and he popped his finger yesterday as well.
Yeah, I think yesterday was probably more the finger thing. I spoke to him in the afterwards, and he couldn't get it back in for a fair while, I think, which is I know that it's not a great feeling. So Joshy's got great courage going out. He didn't have to play. He could have just rested for however long he wanted to rest, but that sums him up. He wants to get out there and help the boys, and I think probably without him, might not have got the win.
Coach, we don't see a lot of emotion from him. He's pretty straight down the line, but the shot in the box at the end of the game was very different to what we see. How was he after the game with you guys?
Yeah, he was probably back to his normal self. We played and beat a great opponent in Port Adelaide. They're a very good team, and it's obviously really good to beat good teams, but we want to move on next week as well, and we've got Gold Coast coming up in 6 days. So, again, footy, it moves on pretty quickly. I did actually see that. Saw that out on the ground. They flashed it up on the big screen. I saw Simo getting a bit carried away in the box, so I'll have to let him know to keep it under wraps next time.
What did that win mean for West Coast, do you think, going forward in the competition? You reckon you gained a bit more respect amongst the AFL after that performance yesterday?
It's probably hard to say, how other teams think about us, but certainly, inside our group, it's great to get a win like that. The belief grows. It's been on the up since the start of this year, I think, just playing together more, same game style. The belief in the group's really high at the moment, which is great, and it usually ends in good results.
You're 4-2 at the moment, second on the table, and a big scalp under your belt. What do you think the team can achieve now this season?
This week doesn't change how we've gone about this year. I expect big things from the team. It's an exciting year for us, and it's a really young group, so the sky's the limit, I suppose, for us. But it's just going to have to be, like I said, we're going to have to move on week after week and perform consistently, because you can't come out one week and perform well and then the next drop off. Good teams are really consistent, so that's what we aim to do.
A lot of outsiders were probably looking at the team at the start of the year saying maybe they can make the 8, but it might be a 50-50 kind of thing with the win like you got over the weekend. Is there belief there that the team belongs in the top echelon of the comp?
Internally, we've got good belief in the group. Again, external beliefs and predictions and what everyone else is paid to do, that's their job. We're just going to play good, consistent footy.
You mentioned the unity in the group before. It said that it's the best. I mean, what's happened with that? How does that gel and occur?
I think it's a natural progression for the group. It's a very young group. I consider myself young, but I'm top 10 oldest blokes in the club now, which is sounds silly saying really, but it's a really young group. So, naturally, the more time you spend together as a group, the more the unity goes up, and I think it's a natural progression the way it happens.
Has been manufactured as well to get the blokes together and spend more time together?
It's pretty natural. We spend we're pre-season, we're pretty much every day together, and in season it's the same thing. So you don't have to manufacture unity too much in a footy club. It's a pretty natural thing. Blokes spending every day, all day together. It's you become good, close mates pretty quickly.
Will, you talk about obviously a young side, but you're building confidence, 3 wins in a row now. The young fellas, especially on an away win as well, how far do you think you can take it, and how much do they learn from those away victories as well?
Yeah, I think that was the most important thing for us is, just the belief in the group. It internally, it's great to get a win like that. For young blokes, there was a few guys that said it was the best win they've been involved in. McGovern, Jackson Nelson, Duggan. There's guys that have, Fraser McGuinness, Kel Sinclair. There's a lot of young guys in there. So to win away against a great opponent like Port Adelaide, it's pretty big for the group.
How did you view Sherrod Wellingham's game yesterday?
Yeah, really good. I mean, he's had a good year to date, not just yesterday. It's been good having him down back. He adds a little bit of something that probably been lacking, but he gets a bit of the ball. He uses it well. He's also defending well though, which is really important in the back line. So, love having him down there at the moment. Means I can just do my job and worry less about doing anything else.
Is there an example of guys just embracing new opportunities? Because you've had a lot of guys who've been thrown in different spots. Yeah, I mean, Sherrod's a mature guy. He's my age. He knows himself. He had to probably step up what his output's been the last couple of years, and he definitely has. I mean, he hasn't had a great run with injuries. It's probably the first pre-season he's put together that he's really been consistent and starting to show through now. But again, it's just the start. We've got a lot of belief in Sherrod and what he can bring, but big year to come.